Alright, here's one I wrote a while back when I was obsessed with Brave New World. I hope you guys like it. Also, when I recorded this, I was coming down with a cold, so if it sounds a bit nasally, that's why. Dystopian Anon, Part 1. Written and narrated by Wuten. It is year 449 AF after Ford. You are one of the 10 controllers, leaders of the world state. You are anonymous. The world state is the perfect utopia. Nobody would ever dare want to go against it. Volkanovsky's process has ensured that the caste system is designed to keep stability within the society. Community, identity, stability. These are the foundations of the world state. The caste system is divided into 5 different caste groups: alphas, betas, gammas, deltas, and epsilons. Alphas run the society as the upper class, while each group works its way down to the epsilons, the brainless, idiotic class that are used for the basic work tasks. Volkanovsky's process has ensured that each member of each caste stays within his or her own caste and does not leave. By putting the fertilized egg cells through 8 minutes of X-rays, they either split or die off. Reproduction by budding will yield anywhere from 8 to 96 embryos, each one identical to the last. Dosing the egg cells near to death with alcohol, one can lower the intelligence of the soon-to-be full-grown human to their liking. Alphas are left alone, while the beta caste and lower are subjected to more and more intense doses of alcohol, with epsilons receiving the most. You are an Alpha Double Plus. You are the highest rank of the highest rank. This is why you are a world controller. Nobody questions your authority. All people are grateful to you and your colleagues for your unquestionable knowledge and leadership, and they should, for you have created the answer to all their sadness, the substance known as Soma. 1 dose of Soma and all of your problems are gone. This is how your utopia has survived for the past 400 plus years. Community, identity, stability. We have the power! Go now! That's right. You're an Alpha Double Plus. That makes you the leader of the entire operation. It started when one of the world controllers informed you of the supply of Soma running low on Earth. The 10 of you immediately agreed that a search for a new, more efficient method for harvesting ingredients would be the best option. Synthesizing Soma has become less effective than it was years ago. Your duty to your people is to keep them happy. That's all it is. Sir, it's not working! The systems are jammed! You hear a beta worker shout up to you from the testing area, frantically trying to press keys to stop the anomaly. You have begun your own testing in secret for not only new worlds for harvesting, but entirely different dimensions. This is your first test, opening a wormhole to another dimension. Unfortunately, due to a few incorrect calculations, the wormhole has manifested a bit uncontrollably. It's swallowing everything that gets near it. You watch as a few helpless alphas and betas are sucked into the abyssal center of the wormhole, never to be seen again. You wonder what could have gone wrong, as you are pulled closer and closer to the wormhole. It's pointless for you to resist its grip. You already know this. Just close your eyes and accept your fate. Someone will eventually replace you. They always do. They must, to maintain stability within the world state. 1 egg cell. That's all you were to the world state. You were commissioned and bred to be a leader. They won't do any different with the next one. They might be a bit disturbed, however, with all the Soma that you're taking with you on your journey to death. It could be useful in case you manage by some slim chance to survive this. You're lifted up off your feet, and you are thrown into the center of the wormhole, feeling your entire body warp and squish into the size of a pinpoint, while moving faster than light through dimensions that's absolutely dreadful. You wish you had taken a gram or 2 of Soma before this happened. Suddenly, you feel yourself hit something hard. It's too painful to move. The world is fading around you. The last thing you hear before you black out is a female's voice. What is that thing? You wake up slowly. You're in a white room. Your head is throbbing, and you have multiple injuries across your body. Someone's bandaged you up? Then Did the wormhole experiment work? It must have been one of your alphas who set this up. Though everything seems a bit small. You hear the door open and steps coming to you. Well, howdy there, stranger. Looks like you got pretty banged up there, so I decided I'd bring you back in here and fix you up. You turn your head to look at where the strange dialect was coming from. Some kind of orange pony? Your eyes widen. This couldn't possibly exist. It's unfathomable, unreasonable. So, can you talk? Hope you didn't bang your head too hard. You eye the pony for a long time, just sitting there, mouth agape. What are you? You're looking around the room. That explains the size difference from everything. Where are my alphas? My researchers? You're what now? The orange pony raises an eyebrow at you. Last I remember, Rarity said she only found you with nothing else except for a few boxes of some kind of soma thing? Your eyes shoot back to her. Where is it now? Your voice is a bit frantic. Well, I think Rarity had it. Wonderful. Where can I find this Rarity? You have to get out of this place. Whoa there, calm down, the pony exclaims, pushing you back down onto the bed. You're hurt, and you gotta rest, alright? Just wait, I'm sure Twilight will be here any second, and she'll be able to explain what's going on. I already know what's going on, and I know what I need to do to get out of here. You do? You nod. Simple. I'm just hallucinating, that's all. You're just a figment of my imagination, and I'm having some sort of wild soma trip. You stand up, getting off the bed before once again collapsing back, smacking your head on the wall. Well, if it's a hallucination, then it's a really, really fucking thorough one. You sure you're alright? The pony asks you, prodding you with one of her hooves. You wince a bit. I suppose sleep will be the best thing to get rid of this hallucination. Thank you for helping me in my lucid dreaming. You turn over onto your side, before closing your eyes and falling asleep again. A sound of her muttering something about crazy as a rooster crowing in the middle of the night reaches your ears as she leaves the room. You wake up a few hours later. You're still in the same room as before. You get up, but you feel a sharp pain in your side. You must have fallen asleep in a weird position and cramped up your muscles. Now then, time to get some... You stop dead in your tracks. There's a pink, fluffy thing staring at you from the ceiling. It's standing there as if it has suction cups on its feet. Wait a minute. It's another one of those pony things. Well, looks like your hallucination hasn't gone away. Hi, I'm Pinkie Pie. What's your name? The pink one asks, bouncing up down onto the ground. I am Anonymous, one of the 10 world controllers in Alpha Double Plus. That's a silly name. How about I just call you Anon for short? She asks, grinning up at you. This is a weird hallucination. I suppose that'll be acceptable. Great, she exclaims, holding up a hoof. You're my new best friend, Anon. You eye the pony for a moment. Friend? Yeah, friend. You know, someone to talk with and play with and, oh, make sweets and stuff. You look like someone who knows his way around sweets and cakes. What the heck is she talking about? Sorry, that's not something I'm familiar with. What? You've never had any sweets before, ever? She exclaims, gasping and her jaw dropping to the floor. What is with the physics here? It's all completely illogical, yet there are some aspects that are logical. It's similar to Earth, actually. I have no idea what you're talking about, actually. She shakes her head rapidly, before grabbing your hand and dragging you out of the room, with her hoof. The hell? We're getting you to Sugarcube Corner, stat! She exclaims. Suddenly, the orange pony turns a corner. Pinkie? What in tarnation do you think you're doing? Taking Anon here to Sugarcube Corner. He's never had a dessert a day in his life, she exclaims to the orange one. The orange pony shakes her head. He needs rest, Pinkie. He's still a bit bonkers from hitting his head. You manage to slip your hand away during their conversation. Excuse me, but if I'm going to be going anywhere, it's to collect my things and leave this place. Where did you say my belongings were? You turn to look at the orange pony, rubbing your hand. Oh, well, they're at Rarity's. She's the one that found you, she says. Now, you need to get some rest, seriously. You're not in the right mind to be going out like this. I'm going out. I'm getting my things. and I'm leaving this place for good. She sighs, and looks up at you. Alright, I'll let you go with Pinkie. You take him over to Rarities, alright, Pinkie? She says, turning to the pink one. Okie dokie Loki, she exclaims, holding a hoof in the air. Come on, Mr. Anon, follow me. You nod, following the bouncing pony down the trail toward the small town. It's like an eternal visit to the reservation, minus the savageness of the natives. There's ponies everywhere. It's much too colorful for your taste. What is this place?
Silly, this is Ponyville. You're in the land of Equestria, after all.
The pink pony exclaims. You remember the orange one mentioning her name, Pinkie? This is so much different from what the world state is. You take a look around. The ponies around town are all giving you strange looks. Tell me, has any human ever come to this place?
A human? What's that?
She asks, turning her head to look at you as she continues bouncing. Well, it's what I am. A Homo sapien.
Homo what?
I take that as a no, then. She shakes her head.
Nope, I've never seen any pony like you before, and I know every pony here, so that would mean you're new.
I can see that. So does that mean that ponies are the sentient race here? They're the ones in charge?
Yep. Princess Celestia and Princess Luna are the ones in charge, but they're pretty lenient when it comes to ruling. They control the sun and the moon, you know?
Your eyes widen. The sun and the moon? How is that possible?
Magic, of course.
She grins up at you, as the two of you come to a cylindrical building with various decorations on it. So tacky. Too many designs. The world state has no place for art. Your society gave up the pursuit of higher arts for the pursuit of happiness. Art cannot exist without passion, and passion was abandoned due to misery. Truth brings change. Change brings instability. Instability brings unhappiness. Therefore, all things in the world state were made without expression. Magic? Pinkie nods, before knocking on the door to the boutique with her head. Strange one this pink pony is. The door opens, and a white pony walks out to meet the two of you.
Ah! Darling, you must be the one that I found earlier today. I must say you were quite shaken from your eventful landing, she says.
This one has a horn? What is that? You point at the horn on her head.
Oh, this?
She asks, pointing to her horn.
Why, it's my horn, of course. Couldn't perform magic without it, after all. Sewing clothing and outfits is precise work, after all, so magic definitely helps with it.
There's that word again. Magic. When you say magic, exactly what do you mean? The white pony smiles and opens the door wider. Come in, I'll show you around. Thank you, Pinkie. I'll take it from here.
Okie dokie Loki.
The pink one grins widely, looking up at you.
I'll be back later. You're gonna have an awesome time at Sugarcube Corner,
she exclaims before hopping off toward the center of town. Definitely strange.
Don't worry, she means well.
The white pony smiles, closing the door behind you with a bright glow from her horn. You eye the horn for a bit inquisitively before deciding to ask about it. So that was what you'd call magic, then?
Yes. There are many different kinds of magic, from levitation to transformation and so on, she says, walking up to you. I'm Rarity, by the way. A pleasure to make your acquaintance.
She smiles, holding out a hoof. You smile, taking it in your hand, shaking it. I am Anonymous, one of the 10 controllers of the world state.
Oh, sounds quite prestigious, she exclaims, gasping a bit. Tell me about this world state,
she says, guiding you over to a nearby couch. It's a bit small, but it holds your person well enough. She seems well interested in the possible ideas of a utopian society. You tell her of all the glorious devices of your society's creation, such as Soma, but she has since levitated the boxes back to you. You smile, offering her a tablet.
Oh, I couldn't. I'm not quite comfortable with that sort of thing,
she says, her face a bit nervous as she lays down on another couch across from you. You proceed to educate her on all introductory aspects of the world state, more or less of what young children would be conditioned within the hatchery. She gasps at your mentions of how art is not a part of your society, and that love, passion, and individuality is all but conditioned out of the citizens at birth. You also tell her how sex is no longer based on emotional love, but of a physical gratification, and she's disgusted by it. She is especially shocked when she learns of what the hatchery does to keep the casts in check. That's horrible! Limiting the children before they're even born? What kind of person does that? It keeps them happy. Think about it. There are no wars, no riots, and no conflicts anymore in the world state. The people are happy because the work they do is tailored to their intelligence and physical ability. Epsilons, for example, relish in the simple labor they have, because it requires little to no strain on their minds. I suppose that makes sense. But happiness at the cost of suppressing individuality? Why bother living in a world where everyone is the same? My business would certainly falter in the face of such conditions, she says, cringing a bit at the thought. Well, then it's better for you to be in this kind of society then, I suppose. She smiles and nods. Definitely. You know, you remind me of someone I remember hearing about back in the world state. Oh? Yes. His name was John, but the citizens more accurately referred to him as the Savage. Oh my! Why would they do such a thing? She exclaims, gasping a bit. You go into detail of explaining what you knew about John. He had been born at the reservation, and learned from her writings of Shakespeare, contradicting the propaganda of the world state. Eventually, he couldn't take the conditioning of the citizens, and started a riot, landing him in confinement. He asked for isolation. However, you and the other world controllers refused it to him due to his being the one that started the riots. He left the city, and eventually took up residence in a lighthouse. It was later found that he had hung himself, ending whatever connection to the world he had. Oh my, that's terrible! She exclaims. Well, I do hope his spirit was laid to rest. You shrug. We've grown to where we do not fear death. Rather, we enjoy life and all its pleasures. And if there's ever something we do not particularly enjoy, there's always Soma. 1 gram, and all of the problems in the world go away. She shakes her head. It sounds like more of a hallucination than anything else. It creates euphoria for those who ingest it. Religion without tears. That's what Soma is. She thinks for a moment. It still seems a bit strange. To cut yourself off from the rest of the world. To enjoy your own hallucination of all good things in the world. It almost seems rather selfish, if you ask me. Your world and my own are 2 very different societies. It's not surprising you'd think strangely of it. You said your name was Rarity? Yes, and yes, they are very much the opposite. I don't know if Princess Celestia would agree with it either. That's the 2nd time you've heard this mention of that name. Tell me, who is this Celestia I've heard about? Oh, she is our ruler, Rarity says, looking you square in the eyes. She controls the sunrise, and her sister, Luna, controls the sunset. I remember the pink one mentioning something about that. Exactly what is it they do to perform this mighty task, though? Why, magic, of course. Rarity smiles. She and her sister are some of the most powerful spellcasters of all of us. I see. And how would I go about meeting this Celestia? Well, I'm sure that Twilight would be willing to send a letter to her about you, Rarity says. I can take you there tomorrow, if you would like. It looks like it's getting a bit late right now. She looks out the window. Sure enough, it's nearing sunset. Do you have a place to stay yet, Mr. Anonymous? She asks, looking back to you. Come to think of it, you don't really. You shake your head. She smiles. That's fine. You can stay here tonight. I'm sure Sweetie Belle won't mind letting you use her room for one night. She can stay with me. Speaking of which, she mutters, she should be arriving home by now. Her and her friends always seem to enjoy playing outside if they get dirty. She shudders at the thought. Not me, though. I'd prefer to do anything in my ability to prevent such activity. Almost on cue. The door slams, and you see 3 smaller ponies, completely covered from head to toe in mud. Rarity gasps, and she rushes over to the 3 of them. Sweetie Belle, what kind of crazy plan did you 3 come up with today? She asks, her voice a bit frantic. Cutie Mark Crusaders, trench diggers! One of the mud-covered ponies exclaims, grinning proudly up at Rarity. You assume that by the horn on her head, This is the sister she was talking about. Yeah, Apple Bloom here thought we'd be able to get our cutie marks by digging a bunch of trenches. Shows how much she knows. Another one of the smaller ponies says, groaning a bit. This one has wings, though. That's new. Hey, you're the one who said it sounded like a good idea. The pony on top of the pile looked down at the winged pony. You assumed by her accent she could possibly be related to the other pony from earlier. Now, you two should be heading on home, quickly! Don't want that mud to cake to your fur. It'll take an eternity to get out, Rarity exclaims, looking at the two other smaller ponies. Alright, the winged one sighs, before shrugging the one she called Apple Bloom off of her, and walking out, tracking hoofprints of mud behind her. You should do the same, Apple Bloom. What would Applejack say if she saw you like this? Rarity turns to look at the other filly. My sister? She'd probably crack up laughing, before hopping off Sweetie Belle and onto the trail. See you tomorrow, Sweetie Belle. She grins, waving a hoof at the last remaining mud-covered pony. Bye, you guys. She waves back, before Rarity's horn starts to glow and the door magically closes shut. Now, Sweetie Belle, we have a guest staying with us tonight. Rarity smiles, her eye twitching a bit from seeing the mud on her floor, before turning to look at you. He'll be sleeping in your room tonight, so you'll be staying with me. She turns to the... So that means you have to wash all that mud off, all right? Yes, ma'am, she exclaims, before turning to look at you. Her eyes widen. What is that? Her voice cracks a bit at the last word, pointing a muddy hoof at you. That is our guest tonight. His name is Anonymous. Please be more polite. Rarity sighs before her horn starts to glow, and the smaller pony is levitated up off the ground. I apologize for ending our conversation so soon. I'm taking her to get her bath ready. Her room is down the hall and to the left. You may go and see if the room will accommodate you, Rarity says before she walks off, levitating the muddy pony in the air next to her, the occasional drop of mud landing on the floor causing her to wince each time. You might as well go check it out. You stand up and walk into the hallway, opening the door on the left, just like Rarity said. It's fairly small and pink. So much fucking pink. You walk over to the bed. It's a bit small, but hopefully it'll hold your body without breaking. You look around the room. It's different. Expected from a place like this, but different from what you're used to seeing in the world state. You walk out, and Rarity has since returned from fixing a bath for Sweetie Belle, and she's sitting on the couch. You see the floor has been cleaned. You walk back and sit down across from her once again. So, will it be enough for you? She asks, smiling. It will do for tonight. She nods, muttering something about a thank you under her breath. Well, now where were we in our conversation before Sweetie Belle came in? She asks, smiling once again. You were saying something about this Twilight sending a message to Celestia for me. Ah, yes. We can go tomorrow to Twilight's home. She'll be both interested to see you, and I'm sure she'll be willing to send a letter to the princess. You nod. It seems feasible. You're actually a bit curious to meet this Princess Celestia that people, or ponies, have been talking about. Well, it's a bit late now, so shall we head off to bed? She asks, smiling at you. Sweetie Belle should be getting out of her bath soon. Again, almost if on cue, the smaller pony runs out into the living room, bouncing around before running up to you. So what are you exactly? She asks, grinning at you. You don't look very dangerous, and Rarity seems to like you, so... Sweetie Belle! Rarity exclaims. Don't ask such questions to our guest. The smaller pony looks to her sister. But Rarity, It's alright, I'll tell you. I'm actually not of this world. Whoa! So you're some sort of alien? Are you here to eat our brains and breed with the natives? Sweetie Belle grins up at you. What? Yes to the first, and no to the others? Sweetie Belle nods excitedly. This is so cool. Her voice cracks again. I've never met an alien before. Well, is that all you wanted to know then? She nods again. Yep. Sweetie Belle runs in energetically through the hallway to a room on the right. Night, Mr. Anonymous, she exclaims before shutting the door. Rarity sighs. A bundle full of energy, as always. You chuckle a bit and nod. So it's getting a bit late now, she says, looking out the window. It's night. We should be getting off to sleep. Yes we should, Rarity says, nodding. We'll head out first thing tomorrow morning. You nod, standing up. Thank you again for allowing me to stay here for tonight. You bow, a bit lower than you usually would, since she is a pony and she sits lower than a normal human would. She gasps and waves a hoof.
Oh, think nothing of it. I can't just let someone sleep outside when they need the help,
she says before standing up.
Well, good night, Anonymous. Sleep well.
She smiles, walking off toward the room Sweetie Belle ran into a few minutes ago. You nod, following suit, entering Sweetie Belle's room and laying down on the bed. Perhaps after a good night of sleep, you'll be able to make sense of all that's been going on today. End Part 1.